Shalom and welcome to this edition of Revealing the Truth, where we cover the headlines, the heartlines, and biblical truth. I'm your host, Reverend Rabbi Eric Walker, and this morning we're visiting with Arlene Pellicane, author of the newly released book, Calm, Cool, and Connected, 5 Digital Habits for a More Balanced Life. Arlene, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Rabbi.
You're very welcome. Arlene is a speaker, author, media personality, and blogger. She's written 6 books, including 31 Days to Becoming a Happy Wife, 31 Days to a Happy Husband, 31 Days to Becoming a Happy Mom, Growing Up Social with Gary Chapman, 31 Days to a Younger You, and her latest, Calm, Cool, and Connected from Moody Publishers. She's appeared in major media outlets, including The Today Show, Focus on the Family, Fox and Friends, Family Life Today, The 700 Club, The Better Show, The Hour of Power, Turning Point with David Jeremiah, and Home Made Simple on TLC. She's been interviewed on numerous radio programs and written for several national magazines. She earned her BA from Biola University, her master's from Regent University, and before becoming a speaker and author, she served as a featured reporter for the 700 Club and associate director for Turning Point Television with David Jeremiah. She lives in a happy home in San Diego with her husband James and kids Ethan, Noel, and Lucy. You can learn more about her at www.arlenepellicane.com. Well, quite a resume, Arlene. You are a productive, achieving, accomplished, connected individual. Has this been your childhood? Is this the kind of environment you grew up in?
This is all by the grace of God, right? So I was raised as an only child, so my husband, who is the last of 4, would say, you grew up really spoiled. So I had my own bedroom, and I got to eat what I wanted, and I got to watch the TV shows I wanted, and the attention all came to me. But the way I remember it, is, of course, I don't remember that it was so spoiled and such. However, one thing that I learned from a young age was to be involved in things. So if you were going to church, get involved in youth group. I remember sitting in the back seat with 3 other teenagers going with our youth pastor to visit people that had visited our youth group for the first time. I remember being crammed in this VW bug, and I think it's where it starts, is just a heart of service wherever you are, and that whatever God puts in front of you, that you do the very best that you can. And so I'm always humbled and amazed if I look back and I think, wow, if you would have told me, of course, when you graduate from college, I went to Biola University, I thought, I'd love to be a speaker. I'd love to be an author. I'm 20 years old. What in the world am I ever going to speak and write about? And here we are 25 years after my college graduation, and to be able to say, wow, God, that's amazing. You allowed me to do all these things that I really, really enjoy. So wherever you're at, you just keep dreaming, do what's in front of you, compound effect, just keep doing the right thing over and over and over, and God will give you those goals, and try to attain as many skills as you can along the way.
Well, this is sound advice. What's really quite interesting is that I think that we allow ourselves to feel diminished somehow in our comparison to these role models, these stars, these people of fame and fortune, and oh my goodness, Gary Chapman, the author of the 5 Love Languages, and you've co-authored a book with him, and that must have been the pinnacle of your life to take this individual that has changed so many marriages
Right.
and so many homes, and yet you're a mom.
Yeah. I drive a minivan.
You drive a minivan. You drive a Hoover. You have a vacuum cleaner. You have dishes. You
Yes.
make beds. You have to deal with lunches and kids in school. And these are the realities of life, but we tend to drift away from that and be so impressed and so overwhelmed that we don't think we can measure up.
You do not worry. Wherever you're at, you keep showing up at work, keep packing those lunches, and God sees those things. They are not insignificant. And I really believe if you are faithful in the small things, God will continue you in your journey of whatever that next step is. But you mentioned this with Gary Chapman, and I do remember getting this email saying, would you be interested in a book project? And of course, any starving author is always like, sure, I'd love to be Yes, I'm interested. And then the following communication was, oh, and by the way, this would be writing something with Dr. Gary Chapman. And of course, many of you are familiar with him for the 5 love languages. So right behind me here, I fell on the floor in amazement, like, what? This is crazy, you know. So that really, truly was an honor to get to partner up and work with him on the project. And the reason, if I may be so bold, one of the reasons God has been able to use him so greatly is he is the kindest, humblest, most down-to-earth man that would talk to anyone, who has no airs about him, and who is authentically who he says he is, and whose just heart is for ministry. His heart is to help and reach people, and how God has expanded him because of that. And that's a lesson for all of us.
You know, that's so interesting you said that. Now, I grew up in the synagogue, and the rabbi was not a man of the people.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the synagogue I grew up in, there were 2 secret doors. There were 2 rabbis, and the doors were in their offices. And so they had these magnificent rabbinical libraries. And the doors, the secret doors, would open up. They would come out of those doors, sit down in their chairs in the pulpit, one on each side, because they really didn't get along with each other. They would then perform whatever their functions were. At the end, they would go back into their studies, and nobody ever had much interaction with them. Well, when I became a rabbi and I had a congregation, I wanted the children to run up to me and grab my leg. I wanted them to come forward and interact, and I wanted to be at the back of the room when people came in, and I wanted to be at the back of the room when people left, so that I could see people and talk to people and be accessible to people. And, you know, you still have the issues of ministry, which is decency and order, and there's a problem here, and you got to take care of this and take care of that. But all in all, the shepherd smells like sheep.
Yes.
The shepherd does not smell like some fancy cologne.
Right.
And he's with the sheep, and he smells like the sheep, and he interacts with the sheep. And one of the things about this shepherding is the shepherd is never out front. The shepherd is always at the back of the flock. He's covering the rear. He's got a dog or a alpha sheep that's leading them, and they're driving the sheep. You look at the cattle drives. They're driving the cattle. They're not leading the cattle. They're driving the cattle. They're moving the whole body forward, and they'll deal with the stray. Scripture tells us all about that. Who would not leave the 99 to go get the one out of the ditch? We see that model. So people who have risen to this level aren't arrogant and prideful. Now, that's not to say that 100% of that is true.
Sure.
But as we interact with people at conferences and at speaking engagements and things like this, we actually are uncomfortable with the label, uncomfortable with the celebrity, or uncomfortable with the position. And people don't know that. They don't understand that. But you've experienced that for yourself.
Yeah. As you say, we're just everyday normal people that get to do this fun thing, you know, and it can be, for me, I love writing and speaking. For someone else, they may love singing. They may love carpentry. They may love building. They may love math and accounting, economics, you know, engineering. It doesn't matter. It's whatever is in front of you that you do, all to the glory of God. There's not a first class, second class, third class ranking of the occupations that we choose. You know, and can I piggyback on something you said about
Please.
the shepherding? It
Yes.
really reminds me, I write a lot of parenting books, Growing Up Social, 31 Days to Becoming a Happy Mom, and you really see that for a parent, they can't just be part of the pack only. Like, the parent isn't supposed to be a fellow sheep. Like, hey, sheep, child, what do you want to do today? You know, hey, what school do you want to go to? Hey, you want to play video games all day? Sure. You know, the parent isn't supposed to be a fellow sheep, but the parent is supposed to drive, provide direction, provide protection. And I think that really is a beautiful analogy of a shepherd with their sheep, that a parent is there to keep the intruders away, to keep the sheep and driving them to the right path. And I think that's a beautiful analogy.
It's so important. We've lost a lot of our vision about parenting. People want to be friends with their kids.
Right.
You know, my daughter's 28 now.
Yeah.
I was a single dad for a very long time. We had our 7 years of just she and I in this very interactive I was the ballet dad, and I was the soccer dad, and I was the carpool dad, and I learned how to braid hair.
Yes.
There was actually a picture on Facebook of a young girl whose father had done her hair, and she asked to have it put in a bun, and what he did was he took a piece of elastic and took a hamburger bun and put it. And so I sent it to my daughter and said, "You can relate," and she said, "I can." You didn't do that, but I can certainly see you doing that, putting my hair in a bun. So
That's right.
it was comical. It was challenging. There were great joys and a lot of ups and downs in that. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now our relationship has evolved, where she's 28 now. She runs a chemical company, and she's so much more fun. But yet I'll always be dad, and I'll always be the voice of reason, and she expects me to be consistent because that's an anchor to her. That keeps her grounded and keeps her from drifting away, because she's always not so much anchored but tethered to sound advice and sound counsel. And
there's a safe harbor. She can go and explore the world, and then there's a safe harbor she can always come to that's consistent, and she can ask you for feedback. You'll tell her, like, hey, you're way off in the wrong continent. You got to come back. So you're there for her, which is amazing, and it shows you that what you put in the beginning, it continues in a different way as they grow up into adults. My kids are really little. I have a 3rd grader, a 6th grader, and an 8th grader, and they go boy, girl, girl. And so I see them now. I have an official child, tween, and teen. So I have them in these different stages, and we've been having a great time with them.
Well, it really is wonderful to watch them grow and watch yourself grow as a reflection of your children. It's interesting, this concept of telling children they can be anything they want to be. Arlene, that's just not true.
Right. Like your tall son is not going to be a jockey. Your short son is not going to be an NBA player.
Exactly.
So they can't really, but within reason, like my son, when he was younger, now he's into different things. But when he was in elementary school, he was a different kind of kid because he loved reading. He loved reading nonfiction. He was reading Boys in the Boat, which is this New York Times best-selling book, and he was reading that, in 5th, 6th grade. And so he's reading David McCullum and 1776 and all these kinds of books in 5th and 6th grade. And he says, I would love to do this, like be some kind of novelist. That'd be so cool. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's basically impossible. Like, you can't really make a living doing this. But you can say, you can strive for that and try for that and just have those backup skills that until you make it as an author, that you have backup skills that make you employable. And I think it's this idea of one foot in the real world of, okay, what does the job market actually want? And what could you potentially give to that? And then so that element of dreaming, for me, it's a very strange thing to be a published author. A lot of people want to be published authors, and so that was kind of at the very beginning, someone could have told me, Arlene, that's impossible, but I had a few people that said, just go for it, and of course you've got that backup plan, but you go for it. And so I think it is that balance of being very realistic with your kids, but also nurturing those talents they really do have that could be skills that could be developed.
There's a fine balance between encouraging and deceiving.
Sure.
There's a fine balance between allowing children to dream and to dream big, because we want them to dream big. But you are correct. If you take a look in the history of the National Basketball Association and the NBA Hall of Fame, no one I've ever asked can tell me who are the top 10 Jewish all-time greatest Hall of Fame basketball players. We're just not a very tall people. We're not gifted in that particular area. But yet as a child, we would be out there playing wiffle ball, dreaming about our baseball careers. We would be out there and play in the fall with the football, dreaming about our NFL careers. And we would be there with the basketball in the spring, thinking about our NBA careers. And so all of us thought that we were extraordinary. We had these dreams. We would think that we could kick the ball further than somebody else, hit the ball further, run faster. But we were just little Jewish kids in a little Jewish neighborhood, and we would role play. All right, who do you want to be today? Home Run Derby was a big show back when I was a kid, and you know, you would watch these people hit home runs. That's all they would do, was hit home runs. So we would get out there, and the only thing that counted was a home run. So,
Right.
you know, and so we had these dreams of and then we had their baseball cards, and we would look at these role models that, and it wasn't because we didn't know anything about their personalities. We didn't know that Mickey Mantle was a drunk, or this guy was a drug addict, or this guy had, we didn't care. That wore a
You
uniform.
saw what they did on the field.
Exactly, exactly. And we didn't have these magazines, and we didn't have these background checks, and we didn't have these exposés and these bloggers and all these things to expose. I was shocked in the 70s to hear about my heroes of the 50s who seemed to have fallen so far from grace, but apparently they didn't fall at all. I just didn't know anything about it. You know, so media shapes a lot of our thoughts and a lot of our circumstances. How do you control the media impact on your children?
It's a great question. You know, a lot of it is habits when they're young. So my husband and I are a little bit different. When we first got married, he had said to me, "Is it okay if we don't have a television?" This is 1999. It's like, could we not have a television? Because here we are newlyweds, and I want to spend time with you and do things together. I don't want to just like sit in front of a television and like look at it for hours at night. And that was very strange to me because I worked as a television producer at the time, and it was like, that's weird. But he said, you look at the TV at work all day, you know, why do you have to come home to look at it more? And so I understood that. So we tried it. It was a little experiment for 3 months, and we liked it so well that when we went to our friend's house and saw that TV on in the background, we're like, wow, this house is so noisy, like, and all this junk coming in the house and all these commercials, like, oh, it's awful. So we just never did it. We never subscribed. So we never got cable. We have the big old clunky TV with the rabbit ears, you know, crazy. So we watch, you know, we have computers, we watch DVDs, we watch videos, we do all that, but it's on purpose. So as our kids have been born, now at ages 13, 10, and 8, they have not grown up with this TV constantly on in the background or even as a regular part of their lives. They've grown up with, hey, maybe if they're lucky, once a week we're going to watch an episode of I Love Lucy, you know. So that's kind of how they have grown up, and it really has made it much easier for them not to be so influenced by the things in culture. Because, you know, my kids, they go to elementary school, and the way they learn pop music is in the classroom because they put the pop music on and everybody does these exercises and these dances, and all the other kids are singing along, and my kids are like, I've never heard this song, you know. And so they're learning. But so they have exposure, but their tastes are being educated at home of, hey, we want music that is, the lyrics are uplifting, they're wholesome. We want music at times that it's very worshipful, it draws you near to God. You know, all my kids play the piano, they have music in their life, they have other activities in their life, but they don't have a whole lot of screen time. We don't do video games in the house. So it's really been fabulous. So all these battles, like these main battles that parents have with children, we have avoided many of them simply by regulating from a very young age. This is not how we do it in our household. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because people are listening like, well, that's nice, but that's not how my household runs, and we didn't have that kind of regulation. And so if you have very young children, I want to give you that hope that, you know, when I got one of these and I told my children, this is not yours. This is mommy's, and you may not touch this. And the only time you can touch this is if you're on an airplane and you want to play with it, then I'll let you touch it. So they grew up knowing this is not mine. So if you have young kids, you can train them this way. And it's very freeing because then they don't grow up to be addicted to this. If your kids are older and they've already had a lot of time playing video games and they've been on screens a lot, then it can many times, as Dr. Chapman talks about, begin with an apology. Not a, why are you on this so much? And I can't believe you play this video game. What a waste of time. But a, you know, I recently listened to the show and I realized you're playing, you know, video games way too much, or you're on the phone way too much, and that's my fault, my responsibility that I have not regulated that because frankly it's inconvenient and I don't want to upset you, but I want what's best for you. So I'm going to, and then think of something, whether it's no devices now at dinner time, or no devices after 8 p.m., or video games only on the weekends. Whatever limit you want to impose to help your kids not to be completely saturated with screens, because at the best, they're wasting time. But at the worst, they're seeing all sorts of immoral stuff that goes completely against your beliefs, and we're the ones funding that. So we've just got to take a step back and observe what's going and what's working, what's not.
You know, as much as parents of today say that they're not like their parents that says, don't do what I do what I say, they really are, don't do what I do what I say, because they would go out and subscribe to someone that would curate food for them or wardrobes for them, or this new idea of curating artwork for them, or all kinds of things where you get an expert to do stuff for you, and you do it online so that you're only receiving what you want. Somebody is curating for you. But you are not curating for your children. You are not passing down this concept that you avail yourself of that says that I only want to see these kind of things. I know when we set up our advertising model for our program, we had to go through hundreds of checkboxes of on YouTube and Google AdWords to make sure that ads from certain providers do not pop up when you watch our videos.
Right.
I had to personally curate every advertiser that pops up on our videos to generate revenue for the station. And no alcohol, no pharmaceutical companies, nothing to do with dating or romance, or I had to go through all these lists, and it became shorter and shorter and shorter.
All the ads are that way.
All the ads are that way.
Many of them, right.
And then I get a call from Google AdWords and saying, you know, you're not really taking advantage of the scope of the market out there to generate more revenue. And I said, well, I've got this moral issue. I've got this biblical worldview issue. And so I hope that our audience would support us through contributions, because we're not getting ad revenue feeding to us because of just their viewing, because we have such a narrow scope of advertisers that are not selling flesh, they're not selling immoral things, they're not selling unbiblical things, and the scope of advertisers becomes so much more narrow that we will not compromise. And in that not compromising, we are curating for our audience what advertisers they see. So
that's so good that you do that, and there is a cost of inconvenience to you, but it's totally worth it, because you don't want someone clicking on this thing so you make money on something you don't believe in. And same thing with your kids. There's all this junk coming towards them. You don't want to put your dollars towards sending that junk into their lives. And I think a lot of parents will say, well, let's give them a phone because of safety. Because we've seen all these 24-hour news cycle. We're worried about our children. What if they can't reach us? What if someone gets them, or there's a natural disaster? What if they can't reach us? Well, the truth is, if there's a natural disaster, that phone is not really going to help them a whole lot. And that in this day and age, my son is in 8th grade. He goes to a public school of 1,600 kids in Southern California. He rides his bicycle to school 3 miles each way, and he does not have a phone. And so people, the moms, something happens to your son. Well, my son has said, Mom, if I get a flat tire, I'll just walk to school, and I'll use my friend's phone to tell you, Mom, I got a flat tire, come pick me up after school, whatever. I'll figure it out. And so many times what we think is safety is kind of our excuse for that convenience of being able to be tethered to our child. But in reality, for them to learn how to even curate for themselves, for one, what's good and what's bad, solve problems for themselves. And then if you don't put this in their pocket, then they're not so tempted to have all this stuff, this barrage of temptation towards them all the time. Because, I used to think this is neutral. A phone is neutral, and it's just dependent on what you look at. But there was more and more research. There's this book called Irresistible by Adam Alter, The Rise of Addictive Technologies. And it's talking about how behind the screen, there are 1,000 programmers that are using this video game, the social media, whatever. They're creating it, so you want to check it. We know that as adults because we keep checking this. So how much more powerful is that for a child who hasn't had those limits or those self-controls? So really, when you want to curate, one great way to do this is say, why do you need this in 6th grade? Why do you need this in 7th grade? You don't. So curate it by just eliminating it if you have that option.
You know, I'm 65 now. I think I got my first phone
Yeah.
working for AT&T. They gave me a bag phone. I got tired of carrying it around. I used to leave it at home.
Right.
And they would try to call me and say, well, you're supposed to have this phone with you all the time. I say, it's heavy.
Right. I don't want to carry this
It's
thing.
not convenient. My laptop weighed 45 pounds. My phone weighed 20 pounds. I'm a pack animal.
Yeah.
You know, finally, they put one in the car. And so it took up a big portion of your trunk. And I was in the telecommunications field. I was in Southern California, in Los Angeles. And this was the way of life. But that was a business situation. I've come to love and hate my phone in the same way. We're talking with Arlene Pellicane, author of the newly released book, Calm, Cool, and Connected, 5 Digital Habits for a More Balanced Life. When we come back, we're going to talk about this dichotomy of a phone and a tablet being used to enhance your life or make your life miserable, and finding the balance. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Shalom. I'm the Reverend Rabbi Eric Walker, Executive Director of Igniting a Nation and host of the daily TV program Revealing the Truth, seen live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time at www.ianbn.com, and then replayed throughout the day and night via our website. All of our segments can be seen on the Igniting a Nation YouTube channel. Since our launch in January of this year, we've expanded our global reach to over 54 countries with a social media following of over 125,000. Our commitment is to bring you the most in-depth interviews with authors, subject matter experts, and thought leaders from around the world. We have interviewed guests from Israel, Brazil, England, India, and all across North America. All of our authors are featured on the Books and Media page on our website, www.ianbn.com. There you can find a direct link to the book you want to order, and we receive a small commission directly from Amazon. There is no cost to you for this service. In addition to our daily teachings and interviews, we make available to you the archive of all of the interviews on our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram channels. Our live program is available from our homepage, and there is never a charge to you for any of this access. We made the decision long ago that we would remain a commercial-free resource that would not be influenced by any pressure from any outside company. There are only 2 ways that we are able to continue to operate this ministry and provide you with the only live 4-hour daily Christian television talk show program. The first is through your support and tax-deductible contributions to Igniting a Nation. These can be made directly through the donate button on the website or sent through the mail to Igniting a Nation, 2700 Corporate Drive, Suite 120, Birmingham, Alabama, 35242. The other way we support the program is by offering you a unique opportunity to have access to over 10 years worth of teachings on a subscription basis. The teaching archives contains all of my prior sermons, Torah studies, prophecy in the news videos, and much more for the low subscription price of $5 per month. This subscription grants you unlimited access to over 800 hours of content not available elsewhere, and is updated weekly with the most current prophecy classes. In addition to 20 hours of original TV programming each weekday, we invite you to join us live every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday evenings for our Prophecy in the News classes. The times and locations are listed on our events page on the website www.ianbn.com. Every day, you and I are faced with the challenge of where we will go to hear the truth. We are committed to bring you the only program of its kind that covers the headlines, the heartlines, and biblical truth. We cannot do this without your support. Since we launched on January 5th, 2017, we have aired over 300 individual teachings, interviews, and commentaries not available anywhere else. We are now working side by side with almost every major Christian publishing house to bring you the most in-depth feature interviews possible. Our 1-hour features address every subject that affects the believer's life. We are hearing of salvations from the Middle East, Africa, and all across the United States. Lives are being changed every day, and we have only just begun. Our mission is to become your trusted resource and grant you access to the people, tools, and information you need to grow in your relationship with the Lord. You can help us by liking us on social media and through your financial support. We know you have many choices in who you support, but we are prayerfully asking you to consider helping us keep revealing the truth, true to our calling, to cover the headlines, the heartlines, and biblical truth like no other program available. Donate today and help us bring the message to the four corners of the earth. Visit www.ianbn.com and donate, buy a book, or subscribe to our teaching archives. Without you, we do not exist. Shalom and welcome back to this edition of Revealing the Truth, where we cover the headlines, the heartlines, and biblical truth. I'm your host, the Reverend Rabbi Eric Walker, and we are talking with Arlene Pellicane, author of the newly released book, Calm, Cool, and Connected, 5 Digital Habits for a More Balanced Life. Arlene, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Rabbi.
You know, Arlene, in this book, you talk about technology's pace, how quick it is, but we've become addicted. We've become slaves to a technology, and there are consequences to this. Now, what's interesting is that you have a perspective from an unwired existence,
Right.
which uniquely qualifies you to examine the wired world. Because you're not,
yeah, you can compare.
yes, you're not really immersed in it, and we cannot see. It's like an addict cannot see. They're a constant state of denial that they're addicted because they cannot see how many times they reach for the pill bottle. They just, time has no real relevance to them. But have we become addicted to our technology?
And you know, there can be a test, many tests that you can do to find out, am I addicted to this, my laptop, my tablet, whatever it is, you know, if you accidentally left this, you know, at home, would you just, oh no, whatever, what am I going to do? Like, would you be in a panic? Would you be, you know, and obviously there are times where you'd say, okay, I really need that for work. I better turn back and get it. And so there are those practical aspects of someone's going to be trying to reach me to find me, and I better go get that. But if you didn't need it for that, you know, just to have it, could you go without it? You know, if it's not that I've got to text someone to find so that I can tell them where to pick me up at 2 o'clock, you know, so you have to have it. But, and even in that situation, you could probably borrow someone's and tell them, here's where I'm going to be. But the point is, can you leave it and be okay? And for most of us, it's like, no, we'd be so nervous. They did this study at Iowa State University, and it's about nomophobia, which would be the fear of not having your cell phone with you, nomophobia. And what they found was, you know, there's probably about, it was probably 55% of men said yes, 50% of women said yes, and they compared it with like the nerves of going to a dentist for a root canal or for, you know, wedding day jitters. Just you'd be so nervous, like, I do not have my phone. And it'd be questions that you can ask yourself these questions. You know, if I did not have constant access to information through my smartphone, I would be very nervous. If I could not connect with my family and friends and update my social media on this, I would be very nervous. So, you know, for you, if you hit your data limit, I would panic. You know, things like that. So you can ask those kinds of questions to yourself to gauge, you know, do I have nomophobia? Am I so afraid of my phone? And it's not that, what I love to tell people is it's not that this is an evil, wicked, you know, you've got to throw this all away.
Right.
But to tell people this should have caution tape across it, because as we talked about in the last segment, there are programmers on the other side trying to make this as addictive as possible. So you will check your social media again to see how many people liked your photo and responded. You will check your texts. You will check your emails because you're constantly touching this thing. So it's not a fair fight. This is stacked up to make you want it. And unlike smoking or drugs or alcohol, where you could say, wow, I'm an addict and I need to separate myself and I need to get out of here, this thing's going to follow you around with you. So, you know, there's this great quote, Adam Alter in his book Irresistible says, once a cucumber, become becomes a pickle. It cannot go back to becoming a cucumber again. And once our brains get addicted, whether it's to video games, a lot of people losing a lot of employment in their 20s because of video games. So whether it's video games or it's a woman typically checking social media all the time, once your brain is like, I'm really addicted to that, then this is going to continue to be a problem. And what's hard about that is this is something you still have to have in your pocket. So you're going to have to make ways to deal with that. So if you're early enough that you're not addicted yet, then it's much better to put those habits in place to keep you so that you could go a weekend without Wi-Fi and not go into a cold sweat. But if because now you're going to see at more treatment centers to treat addiction for being addicted to electronics. We're going to see that trend most likely continue. And I know as a parent, I don't want to check ever my children in. This is, they can't live without their phone. I don't want to have to check them in for that. So that's why I wrote Calm, Cool, and Connected, so we can live with our technology in a productive way without it ruining, diminishing our relationships with our family, with our friends, our productivity at work, our calling with God of having a relationship with God, because many of us are looking at this all day for the answers. How do I get to the restaurant? My child is sick. How do I, what do I treat? Okay, I've just got this diagnosis. What should I do? And we're not going to God's word. We're not praying. We're looking for the answers here because, Google's got all these answers. But the truth is, this is not where it's at, right? It's the Word of God. That's where it's at. So those are all very important things, whatever our age or stage is, that we don't go to Google, we go to God first.
Well, you are spot on. The Word of God says a false balance is an abomination to God.
Yeah.
He's talking about different weights and measures for different circumstances and different people. And so that's kind of pulling out one part of the passage. But when we look in the New Testament, we see the admonition to judge not lest we be judged by the same measure we judge another. This is how to practically apply this standard that God's established in the Old Testament and how to apply it in the New. So as we examine our own usage of technology, when we look at what we do it for, now, one of the things that I personally have tried not to do is to use technology for personal reasons. I use it for professional, to book guests on the show, to post to the website. We have a social media person, Courtney, who is expert at posting on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and getting the message out, because that is the ministry that we're in. And ministry is unusual in the fact that it's 24/7. I connect with family and friends, but tend to spend only posting time or reading time dealing with the ministry and ministry issues and things like that. And truly addicted to it because we're a 24/7 ministry. We broadcast 24/7. We're worldwide, 70 countries, all over the world, all time zones. We're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I do know that there is that balance kind of out of balance. Have we gotten so enamored with our technology we've lost our social interaction capabilities of peer-to-peer contact that's not electronically induced?
I think the answer is yes. So I was speaking in a Midwestern city in the United States, and I talked with a bus driver who has been driving a bus, maybe for 30 years. And almost with tears in her eyes, she said, all these kids, they come into the bus, elementary school kids, and they sit down on their benches, and they all start playing games on their phones. And they don't talk anymore. It used to be that a bus driver, of course, would have to say, you in the back, sit down, you over there, be quiet, And she's saying, I don't have to do any of those things now because the kids are just on their devices. And so that is an example of something that can happen, because it's becoming more and more common that when you walk into a social setting, whether it be a group of people waiting for a church service or a synagogue or at a restaurant or whatever, and while they're waiting, what are we? We look like this while we're waiting. And so people are becoming less and less, with their eyes up, looking around them, and it's becoming more socially acceptable to be down here. Now, I like to view this in public as a hot potato. Like, you use it. Like, I do need to text this person, here's where I am. So I'm not saying you never can look down. You do it. But then once you're finished, you put it away as fast as you can. And you start looking around you so you can see who you want to talk to, and particularly with the people you know. Because a lot of times I'll hear it, people in their 20s, they say, yeah, my friends and we just get together. But a lot of times we just all end up looking at our phones, and then we're not talking that much. And this is much more for the younger generation. I think older generations know this is not normal for people to be in a social setting and everyone to be looking down. Like, this isn't normal, and they talk and engage and do that. But I was just in church, and I met this really cute, she was sitting all by herself in church. She was a freshman in high school, and she's just like in a little corner like this. And I thought, I'm going to go sit by her and introduce myself. And I did that, and she was very personable to me. But when I said to her, oh, let me introduce you to the rest of my family, she said, oh, no, please, no. And I was like, they're very nice. They're not scary at all. And she's like, no, that would be so embarrassing. No, I'm okay. Like, I had invited her to get up out of her seat and to meet my family that it was across the room. And she just said, no. So I said, I tell you what, I'll bring my youngest daughter to you, who's 7. I said, she's very unintimidating. I'll bring her to you. And I brought her, and she was that was like a stretch for her to meet my daughter and to be introduced. I could tell she was nervous. She was kind of like fidgeting with herself. So our kids, our teenagers, they've got to learn, and we as parents and adults in the lives of kids, we've got to insist and say, put down your phone, look this other person in the eye, and please start talking just a little bit. Or training them to be good listeners, training them to be able to read facial expressions. Oh, she's excited. She's kind of upset. She's uncomfortable. A lot of kids don't know that. They don't know social cues anymore because this does not teach them facial expression in real life. So a lot of the things that kids are learning about social things, social media, it's like an oxymoron of jumbo shrimp, like two opposites together. Because many times social media is not social, it's more isolated. So if you can use it to connect, that's fine, but then get off it and then get in real life and talk to real people instead of spending many hours a day just texting people. And that's a call for the generations that follow us. I think that's very important.
Families that spend their interaction texting from room to room has eroded parent-child relations.
Right.
I see couples at restaurants sitting across from each other, both with their phones out.
Yeah. Right.
And it is so depressing to me that they have gone to this. It's a shell. It's protection. They have domains, but there's also this introduction into privacy.
Yeah.
You and your husband are forced into an environment where you have to talk to each other, and that was his intention in setting up this environment, something that you had to adapt to because you came out of a rich info feed, entertainment field, or infotainment, if you will.
Right, like that TV's on a lot. Yeah.
So you had to adapt and adjust, and you see the benefits of it, and your kids are not suffering for it, and you're not being brought before the Department of Family and Children's Services for being a bad parent.
Your children are happy. They like to read. They exercise. Wow. You don't get in trouble for that.
Exactly.
We always laugh that our kids, all 3 of them, always could pay attention in school. So many kids have trouble now paying attention in school because school is not this exciting woo 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 thing that video games are or that TV is on demand all day long. So kids have a hard time paying attention in school. So we always joke that our kids are okay with a book. They are okay with being in a house with no electronics on. And because of that, when they get to school, it's like, okay, someone's talking to me. I can listen. So you really gift your children with self-control and discipline, and they will succeed they will go far in life when they're not constantly barraged with this all day long, all day long, all day long, because that's not a good thing. That's why we need to be more calm, cool, and connected, so we as adults also don't have that constant barrage.
You know, you open the book with a quiz to determine how calm, cool, and connected are you, and you have various degrees of calm, cool, and connected.
Right.
And then you have the last, if you answered yes to 15 or more, you are nowhere near calm, cool, and connected. So you kind of step us through this 5-step process. So fortunately, it's 7 steps less than the 12-step.
Right.
So
Give you a break there.
you make it so that we can get through this faster, and it's actually an easy, great, light read that walks you through these 5 steps. So take us through the 5 steps and what the acronym spells out to be.
Yeah, they form the word habit because so much of what we do, you brush your teeth, you grab your phone, you drink your coffee, you whatever it is, it's habit. So our brain chunks in like, oh, she does this every day, he does this every day, let me just make this automatic. So about 40% of what we do all day, it's just you're on kind of, autopilot there. So what this book is about is helping you retrain that autopilot that at first it will be uncomfortable to adapt. But after doing it, you realize this is an okay habit. So we take the word habit. H is hold down the off button. That there are times you can power on, but there are also times that you power off. And one suggestion I have is to power off your phone and that it would not be the last thing you see at night and the first thing you see in the morning. Because if it is, then you go to bed and you're like, oh, I just saw the news, or oh, I just saw how much I have to do tomorrow, whatever. So go to bed in a much more peaceful way with the Word of God, with a prayer of thanks, with silence. Any of those things would be better. And then first thing in the morning, hold down that off button and start it in the Word of God, start it in prayer. That's just going to frame your day a whole lot better. So be able to hold down the off button. That's the H. The A is always put people first. So if you're like this and you're on your phone with your head down and someone comes in the room, you don't just go, hey, you look up and perform what I call the pivot, and you pivot away from your device and you say, hey, it's great to see you. How are you? So it's a lifestyle that people always come first and my phone always comes second. So A is always put people first. The B is brush your teeth, like brush daily, live with a clean conscience. And, I remember when my son went camping, he did not brush his teeth daily. That's okay, but we typically, right, we brush our teeth daily. And so in the same way that we brush to kind of keep that decay out of our mouth, we've got to brush our minds and get that decay out that we might have seen in an advertisement, that we might see in too much shopping, because now we're thinking of shopping all the time, that we might be wasting a lot of time, that we might be viewing pornography, whatever it is that we say, wait a minute, let me brush daily. Forgive us our sins. Let me brush daily and let me say to God, Lord, did I use my technology wisely? Did I use it in a godly way? Forgive me if I didn't. So just have that attitude of, I want to live with a clean conscience with my technology, with what I view on screens. So that's B, brush daily. The I is I will go online with purpose. And it's this whole idea that we cyberloaf and we waste time and we do our emails because that's easier than going to work. It looks like work. Sitting at our desk, it looks like work, but it's hard. We get distracted. So I will go online with purpose, and that's the I. And then the last letter is T, and it is take a hike. Get outside in nature. Plan that trip to the nearby lake. Plan the big trip to the national park. Get in the beauty of God's nature. The heavens declare the glory of God, and day after day it pours out forth speech. So get out there and hear the Lord. So the acronym is HABIT. H, hold down the off button. A, always put people first. B, brush daily. I will go online with purpose. And T, take a hike. And if you start incorporating these habits in your life, you'll find that, okay, now I have more time. Now I'm calmer. You're much calmer in nature than you are staring at this all day. So get yourself to that place where these kinds of things can become habits in your life, and the book will show you better how to do that.
It's interesting that these things sound simple.
Right, so basic. This is not rocket science. Yeah.
But how willing do you think people are to embrace this?
That's the question. Willing. right? So these things, it's like common sense is not common practice. So we know these things. This makes sense to us. Put the people in your life first. Go outside. Don't be a slave to your devices. Hold down the off button. You got to be able to power off. But the reality of what I hear from people as they read this book and they say, wow, I didn't realize I was doing X, Y, and Z. Or, wow, I'm starting to not put the phones away at mealtime, and it's making a big difference now in my relationships. Okay, now I'm reading the Bible in the morning, and I'm much calmer than I was when I was going straight to my phone. So it's really neat to see that if you just put a few things in place, you'll already immediately begin to sense, oh, this is a good change in my life. So I think we all know that technology is part of our life, but we're kind of wondering, are we using this too much? You feel a little guilty. Am I giving my children enough time? Am I giving my spouse enough time? Am I giving God enough time? Am I, spending my time wisely with our friends? So I really do think it is a need because we do not realize how much we use this. I was recently on a college campus, and it was very refreshing to meet students who said, thank you so much for saying this message because we really need this. And that was really impressive to me because they were very personable and they could see that my generation, we're like looking down way too much, and we don't want to live our lives that way.
Arlene, I can see this as being a purchase that you have to make twice. You need it, but you need to give it to the person that you are connected to on the other end of it.
Sure.
Because if someone is going to be in a relationship with me and constantly texting me and I'm unplugged, they're going to flip out that they can't reach me. They're going to freak. Right. Did something happen to you? What's going on? Is there a problem? Are we in a fight? Or the relationship? What happened to us? So you really have to buy two of these. You need one for yourself and one for that significant person in your life that is the one you're deeply connected, you're umbilically connected to through technology that you cannot live without.
It's a beautiful thing because it doesn't just improve your life, but improves the lives of those in the circle around you. And then all of a sudden you're all having those benefits because you're on the same page. And that's true. So they know, okay, so a friend knows if I didn't text you right back, I'm not mad. I'm just away from my phone and I'm on a bike ride with my kids, so that your friends understand that. And you all have those friends that, oh, she's going to text me back tomorrow. And then you have another friend, oh, if she doesn't text back right away, she must be fallen off a cliff. So we all have these different friends and how they respond. So inviting people on this journey with you to be calmer, cooler, and connected that are close to you is a really great idea.
I think it will improve society.
Yes.
By impacting pockets of society at a time. And, it's not that we're opposed to Apple or Samsung or we're talking about iPhone or Android.
Right, this technology has allowed us to do what we're doing right now.
Exactly. And so, there's agony and the ecstasy, there's the blessing and the curse. It all depends on how you use it and whether or not you're using it for the kingdom. Now, I have to tell you that I listen to the Bible every 70 hours. I have an app that reads the Bible to me. So I spend time every day listening to the Bible. And rather than doing it annually, every 70 hours, I've listened to the entirety of the Bible. I could have never done that before. That's listening to the Bible 3, 4, sometimes 5 times in a year. And faith comes by hearing and hearing the Word of God. I had the Bible on DVD. I didn't watch it. I had it on CD. I did not listen to it. I had already invested back in the day when you could buy it. It was expensive. Yeah. But I didn't have an iPod to transfer it to, and if I did, I wouldn't have known how to do that. I just wasn't that engaged.
Right, you don't want to spend the time to do all that.
Right. Yeah. But apps make my life easier in being able to navigate this or navigate that and pull up.
You practicing the I will go online with purpose.
Exactly.
I will use this app to listen to the Bible. So there's a clear direction and purpose, and then it works for your good.
Well, that's exactly right. Arlene, we've run out of time, unfortunately. but I strongly encourage our audience to get a copy of Calm, Cool, and Connected 5 Digital Habits for a More Balanced Life. As a matter of fact, make a volume purchase. Give it to everybody in your life. You got the holiday season. We're coming into it. It seems to come earlier and earlier. It starts the day after Christmas and continues until Christmas Day. So it's now time to start stocking up on those kind of stocking stuffers and gifts you're going to give to people. And everybody has a birthday, everybody has a mother, and everybody has a father. So there's 3 occasions right there. Birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, the perfect gift item. There you go. Or any day, technology day, or taking a technology Sabbath. Yep. It's wonderful that in Judaism we have the Sabbath, and you're not to use technology, you're not to push buttons, you're not to start cars, you're to spend time with the family and spend time with the Lord. This is something you can do as a family, and I strongly encourage you to do it. Arlene Pellicane, thank you for joining us here and Revealing the Truth and being such an example of a pioneer. Somebody who has shed off the electronic trappings and become the pioneer woman of 2017.
Right. We're a little different. It's true.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for being with us here on Revealing the Truth.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the next edition of Revealing the Truth.